They got the blacks wearing white face, man. I, I just find that kind of ironic. It's just black people wearing white face, which is interesting. But black people anonymously answering 7 burning questions. Let's see it.
Questions. What will be revealed when we take the mask off?
If your answer is yes, you'll turn your light on. F the police.
Shit.
I know that there are quote unquote good cops, but if you are working in an entire force with individuals who are essentially mostly racist, and where police come from, the history of it with being the sheriffs of slaves and tracking down slaves using dogs or whatever they're using, it's just wearing that badge. It's just, you're never really here for us, and we never feel safe for that reason. So, f them.
The only reason why I can't fully say that, like he just said, there are some good out there, and personally having a cousin who is a police officer, but everything else behind that, and all of the other people who bring the racist and pretty much mentality to it, yeah, no, it's them for sure.
he's like
All right, we're gonna.
hey, it's like I said before. My quick opinion, like I said before, in another video. The police, I'm not gonna say F the police, but what I will say is the bad apples gotta go. And how you get the bad apples out is letting these cops understand that if you pull any bullshit and abuse that badge, we're gonna take your retirement funds away. And that's how you gonna get them. Because it's kind of hard sometimes to be weeding out who the bad ones and who they, because people, you know, sometimes people are able to put on a facade for a little bit, but I do believe that when it comes to racism in this world, you can't hide forever. That eventually you're gonna show your true colors, and when you do, we're gonna catch your ass, and that's gonna be a wrap. But take the retirement funds, take that pension away. That's how you're gonna get them.
Have everyone join the conversation?
I don't really feel anything towards this statement because I haven't had any encounters with police, like, ever.
Why do you have to have a personal experience? Why can't you just look at the damage that has been done?
It's different because I feel like I feel the weight of my ancestors in certain situations in other areas of my life than I do with the police.
Okay, this is not me taking away from the black community in general, because police are always targeting us, but I find it interesting that only the black men had agreed with that.
Yeah, I'm like on the fence with it because I know that there are black cops out there that are truly trying to protect and serve, and I really don't know what I would do if we completely destroyed the police system. I would be scared because it's like, okay, well, I don't believe that is the solution, but yes, black men have that main encounter with the police, and sometimes it's annoying because it's like, okay, is this the only cause that y'all care about, is police brutality? But yeah, it's halfway with me.
I think feelings do become more intense though once you have an experience.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. No,
And so
definitely.
like, you know, seeing situations where my dad got pulled over, got questioned, got harassed for no reason, then to experience my situation down in Texas. I had bought guns for the first time, registered them, followed everything to the T, and then still get pressed up against the side of my car like I did something wrong when I did it the exact way that y'all said I had to do it. That experience right there, my dad's situation started it, and then my situation is.
I definitely understand that. Of course, your experience is going to change things, but it was like 2 things that were said right there. Number 1 was the experience. That I do agree with that. For me, I've only been pulled over twice, and both times was cool experiences. I got pulled over because I didn't have my lights on my car. Yeah, 2 different times. One was during homecoming weekend in college, and the other one was the lights was just busted. I didn't have any lights in the back of my car. My tail lights was busted. So yeah, but I just got warnings, and the cops were cool. But and the second thing was also I live in Minnesota, so the whole George Floyd thing after that happened, and I was hearing people saying like defund the police, and I guess the mayor of Minneapolis came out to like a protest, and he was talking, and like they basically like gave him like an ultimatum, like he was there to, I guess, to support, I guess, the cause or whatever, or you know, show some type of his whatever, and the people, like it was hundreds of people there, and they all like, and somebody grabbed the microphone and went up to him and was like, "Hey, are you gonna defund the police?" And everybody was like, "Yeah. Are you gonna do it?" And then he was just like, he's like, I can't do that right now. I can't say I can do that." And everybody was booing him, and he had to leave. And I just thought it was kind of crazy. I'm like, defund the police. I'm not saying that what happened to Joy was right, or that the police are always, or the police aren't doing a bunch of bullshit out here, which is facts. There's proof of it. Look at the history of this country and things that have happened. But what's gonna be in this place? There's a lot in Minneapolis. A lot of crime going on, bro. It's a lot of shit going on in Minneapolis. Who's gonna be when that grandma's calling because somebody broke into her house and she doesn't have anybody else to defend her? Who gonna come? Who's coming to her rescue? Like, I understand there has to be change, but to totally defund the police in general, it's like it sounds kind of wild, especially when there's no other plan in place afterwards. Like what? So it's gonna be like what? It's gonna be the purge outside, like the fucking purge. Everybody gonna be? Is there a man for themselves? Everybody gonna be outside just trying to defend themselves? You got all these elderly people, all these business owners, all these small business owners, everything getting destroyed. Like for what? I just thought that was kind of crazy. So I get what they're saying, but the police, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say I trust the police per se, but I don't really fully trust anybody. So that's kind of like, it is whatever, but it is what it is, man. I guess I'm just grateful to God that I don't have any negative experiences with the police. So I guess my opinion gonna be kind of jaded, but it's whatever.
Is what finalized it.
Are Asians racist towards you?
Not me.
I have a neighbor who is very privileged. She's married to a white man. She's Asian. And I feel like that comes a lot nowadays in America. I feel like Asian women are trying to be the white woman of America, and they're not realizing that they're also an marginalized community just as we are.
Especially Asians that are born into American culture. It seems like they're just pretty much white and they don't have
It does seem
any
like that, though.
empathy for other minorities.
I have had negative interactions with like Asian people or like other people because I'm black and because colorism is a thing. But I've also had like positive interactions. So I feel like, yeah, Asian, it's just a very generalized term.
I know it happens, of course, but me personally, I have not experienced racism from the Asian community. I do totally agree with the idea of colorism because it does seem like the darker you are, the quote uglier you are in any ethnicity, which does suck.
I think the American influence is big. And that's on anybody that comes, no matter where you come from, what background. When you get to America, you spend a couple years here, you start to see how things are done, whether they're right or wrong. You see how things are done, how black people are treated, how white people are treated. So a little bit after I left the military, I spent a couple years in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and South Korea. These places were places where I was accepted more so than back home. It was shocking to me to not be followed around in stores in South Korea. It was shocking to me to not be treated or even looked at the same way I would be walking down the street in certain places here.
Yeah, that's fact. Shout out to my Asians, bro. My Asians always been cool with me. My barber is actually an Asian woman, bro. And she's like, well, I think I gotta hit her up again, but hey, man, she been getting me right for a long time. She's really cool. She been dope. Always treating me with respect. Me and my mom, my little brother, always treating us with respect and care. So I don't really go out like that. But when I do, when I'm outside, I guess I just really have good experience with people. I think the only group of people that I really had, I guess, some type of weird interaction with is the whites. But it is what it is, man. I don't dwell on it too much. It's just miserable people, bro, trying to just portray like their own issues onto you. So I try not to dwell on it too much.
I've dated outside my
I'm
race.
stuttering too much.
In my past dating history, I feel like, I tasted the rainbow pretty much. Like, I dated East Asian men, I've dated Hispanic men. It's different. You know, like you're never going to find somebody outside of your race that's going to 100% understand you, understand your struggle, understand your family, why you do things the way that you do. When I'm dating them, I know it's going to be different. And I feel that's kind of like why I'm entertaining the fact of even doing that.
I don't think that I would necessarily date a white person. I just feel like there's a disconnect. But as long as like they're willing to like, you know, have those conversations with me and understand like my
Oh, just real quick, bro. There's more than two races. Hope y'all understand that shit. Because they just keep bringing up white people when it comes to dating outside your race. But, like, you remember, there's more than just black and white people. Let's just...
blackness. I want to have those conversations with them, and I don't mind what their race is.
I think for me, it's just all about my comfort level with you and how much I can relate. And like he said, I think a white woman would be like at the bottom of the totem pole just because we don't have that much to connect on. But I'm not opposed to it. I would just kind of rather work with something that I know there's a lot of compatibility there.
Look, man, the way this world is set up now and how people are and how evil everything is, if you find anybody that's genuine, black, white, whoever they are, but if you find somebody that's genuine, stick with that. That's why I'm so for interracial marriage and everything like that. Cause not necessarily because I feel like other races are better than black people or I don't love myself. Well, fuck all that. It's about you just finding somebody real, bro. There's not a lot of real people out here, bro. It just seems like everybody's trying to get the clout, especially in our Gen Z. I'm 22. Everybody, like all the young people, just trying to get. It's like all people want just the followers. They want clothes, the shoes, all this type of superficial shit. So like if you find somebody real, and especially in 2022, regardless of the race, hold on to them, man, because they're a rare one. So
I'm not opposed to dating outside my race, but in terms of marriage, I would love to marry a black man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think about our ancestors. Like, they're probably turning in our grave. Like, they're like, what are you doing? Like, we've done so much, and you want to be with this white person or this non-black person?
I've never dated outside of.
I get that, but I feel like my ancestors would be more. I think they'll be more proud to see that I'm doing well, and I'm being successful in the country first of all, I'm first generation American in my country. My parents immigrated here from Liberia, so I don't know if my ancestors were slaves or not. But if they were slaves, I feel like they will be more happy that I'm doing well in the country that they unfortunately were second class citizens in. But you know, that's just how I feel about it. I don't know if my ancestors were slaves.
My race, but maybe I should because a lot of black men tend to go to non-black women.
They can control them.
Yes, and
feel they can
because
They're easier.
and because they have European features, softer hair. They
Exotic.
like the Kim Kardashian looking woman.
Exotic.
You know, you want the black woman aesthetic, but you need the European features. So maybe I should date outside of my race, but I personally, like you said, I want to build with a black man. I want to have black children. That's what I want to do. But with this generation of black men, I don't know if it's possible.
Me having sex with a white man is just...
Nah, shut up. I hate that dumb shit people be saying. Oh well, black men are only black men are only trying to date white women, and black men are this and that, and black men don't want to hold black women down, and they don't want to be. Man, shut up. I'm responsible for me and my family, and that's it. I don't owe my this whole doing for the community shit. I'm not with that. I used to be when I was growing up, but the way things are now in the community, I don't look at no. Now I'm gonna do what's best for me, take care of me, take care of my mother, take care of my sister, and do what I gotta do from there. If anything I do that's positive will indirectly affect the black community. As for what she said, you remember over 80% of what's it called, of black people end up marrying other black people. So in the interracial marriage thing is still a small percentage of the society. It's just that we just tend to focus on that small percentage, which is maybe the entertainers and celebrities and stuff like that. That's what we focus on. But that's not the majority of black people. That's not most of everyday black people. Most black people that you're gonna meet in your life and you're gonna see are probably gonna end up dating a black person. So if you want to focus on that small minority of people, I guess if you want to do that, but I just think that's kind of stupid and disingenuous. But
It's the master aspect. It's the buck breaking history. If you know a buck
breaking, the alleged act of publicly punishing a male slave, typically by first flogging him and subsequently sexually assaulting or raping him in front of other slaves or to humiliate him.
breaking is, it's all of that combined, and then the idea of most times, even in heterosexual relationships, it's usually a fetish for the individual to be with you. It's either because you have a nice body or your skin is so dark and lovely, or because you have, that tool that they want, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, in general, it's always something on your body that they want. And if it's genuinely true love, that can happen. But for the most part, I just think interracial dating is disgusting.
He feels like interracial dating is disgusting. I know every biracial person watching this video gonna feel some type of way about it. They gonna like that comment. They're not gonna like that one. Take it back. They're not gonna like that one.
Felt oppressed
fuck.
by my own community.
Let's talk about it.
I actually sometimes feel very uncomfortable in spaces full of Black people. If you're not desirable as a Black woman, if you're not desirable to men, then you tend to get overlooked. I have to work my ass off for things that I want. Black men, cis hetero Black men specifically, they oppress all of us. And it sucks because I want to be with a Black man, but it's like,
What?
I have to try to appeal to my oppressor. I want to be with a Black man, but typically they oppress all of us. Men, cis hetero Black men specifically, they oppress all of us. And it sucks because I want to be with a Black man, but it's like,
Straight Black men oppress Black women? Bro, this Alexis chick is pissing me off, bro. I don't know who this is. I'm waiting to the end, bro. She pissing me off. Black men oppress Black women? I've never heard that before in my. That's the first.
I have to try to appeal to my oppressor.
I'm gay and I'm also Black. So within the Black community, I feel like, again, when we go out to these protests, when we go out to these clubs or parties and I'm in heterosexual spaces, I feel like, oh, he's Black, but like he's gay, so we can't really mess with him. Like he can't really be in our space. And it's like, how is this your space that you claim over a sexuality and a sexual preference, essentially, rather than us being the same race?
Yeah, of course. Like you were saying, like if you're in the LGBTQ community, it's intersectionality. So people are more cool with me if I'm passing and they see me as like a cis Black guy versus if they know I'm trans.
In terms of my experience, I feel like maybe Black people were gatekeeping opportunities or like trying to be super stingy or trying to be the token Black person and not really, they kind of like bully other Black people to making them be like, you don't deserve to be in my space. Like, this is my zone. This is the area that I'm working in. And it's kind of like they're trying to keep other Black people from being successful. Like, I feel like I've seen that a lot. And I feel like that's happened to me before too.
Most definitely. I think we definitely hold ourselves back and definitely gatekeep each other from a lot of opportunities. The biggest one that I always see all the time is when I hear Black people tell me, when I was growing up, not really now, but when I was growing up, like people, and to other people, even when I got to college and I met other Black people too, that were my age for the first time in my life, which is crazy, but it's true. They told me that they also were told by other Black people that, oh, well, you're the whitest Black kid that I know. Because I articulated myself a certain type of way. Because I didn't grow up around a lot of Black people who were speaking in slangs and different type of things like that. I was around a lot of white people, so they look at me as I'm white. And I hate hearing that dumbass comment, because it's like you're indirectly disrespecting yourself every time you say that. Every time a Black person tells another Black person that you're the whitest Black person I've ever met, it's like you understand that you're basically saying that only white people can speak with well articulation, as I did not articulate that at all properly. But honestly, like, y'all get what I'm saying? Like, you're indirectly disrespecting yourself. So Black people can't be articulate. We can't be educated. We can't be smart. We gotta always be sagging pants. We gotta always be speaking in slangs and just acting a fool in public. But when somebody wants to put on a suit, when somebody wants to, speak with class and have an etiquette, all of a sudden that's a problem. and it's usually black people doing it to other black people. Honestly, it's just interesting, man. It's just I think that's a huge issue we have as a community.
When I was living in Mississippi, I was around predominantly black people. I didn't feel any different. But now that I'm back here in California and I'm around, other races, like, well, I can see why this could be considered colorist, or I can see how in this situation maybe I'm feeling, like I'm not as worthy as these other people. But I just couldn't use the word oppressed really to describe how my experiences have went.
Have you
really
ever
said black
wished
men
you weren't black?
Oppress black women. What the fuck is she talking about?
Like, I want to say, record straight, I love myself now. Like, I love being a black woman. But, like, for so long, because of also family members feeding into the whole idea of, like, oh, you're so pretty because you're lighter. For so long as a child, I associated being black as being something that was a bad thing because I saw how people that were darker than me were treated. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to be this anymore. But I mean, with a lot of love and compassion and hardcore teaching, I was like, being black is honestly the best thing ever.
We lit. I just feel like we're lit, and I get where that comes from. That's a part of colorism, and that happens a lot in our community. And I just feel like if we all just accepted our blackness more, we would just be great.
Like when I was younger, I moved to like a town that was like predominantly like white and Hispanic. I never felt like specifically like, oh, I wish I wasn't black, but I did like look at other people and say, I wish I had hair like them. I wish I looked more like them.
Like, I love being the race that I am, but having 4C hair and having darker knuckles, darker kneecaps, especially in elementary school and middle school, getting through that was really hard. Now at this age, I'm learning to accept all parts of me, but I still battle with it like every day.
There were times where I maybe wish that I wasn't Black American, that maybe I wish I was an African woman or Brazilian, because I feel like Black Americans, like we kind of were disconnected from our African roots and our heritage. And that part kind of hurts because it's like we don't really have much to call our own besides like Ebonics or AAVE. But Black American culture has ultimately set the tone for a lot of modern day pop culture too, so I'm proud of that part as well.
I would raise my kids differently than my parents raised me.
For sure.
If you haven't had an experience with whether sexual abuse or some type of violence in your home, you are lucky in the Black community because it happens to so many of us. And I feel like with me experiencing that growing up, I would never beat my child. I don't want to have to feel like beating my child is a resource or a source of like them respecting me. Yes. I want them to know about mental health and take their mental health actual like serious because we don't take it serious in the Black community at all.
I love that you mentioned that specifically about mental health because it's something you can't talk about in our community sometimes. It's like, well, what's wrong with you? Like, are you crazy? I'm gonna whoop your tail. Like, you shouldn't be acting this way. I give you everything. You have no reason to be depressed. I don't want to reciprocate that onto my children, and I don't want them to feel like if they're feeling depressed, if they're feeling overwhelmed, I don't want them to think they can't come to me and talk about it. My parents, they didn't have that opportunity to communicate with their parents because they were raised in a completely different generation. So now, like, I see my mom was, raising me this way because that's what she's used to, but I'm gonna cut it off with my line.
Our kids are probably gonna be like, yeah, I ain't doing that. When I have my kids, like each generation gets wiser and they learn something else or have resources to something else. So I just wanna always highlight the good things that my parents did. I've already acknowledged them and addressed the bad things with them, but now I can forgive and let it go and just highlight what they did do right and kind of mix that with my own.
I can't be honest about who I am.
I definitely can.
Being Black, like if I'm in a white space, I'm like constantly like, how am I coming off? But a lot of times for me, it's like, you know, in terms of being trans, also like, how am I walking? How am I talking? How am I being received? Do these people, are they speaking at me or looking at me like they're comfortable with me? And it's just pretty tiring sometimes when I'm around other people and I'm constantly checking myself.
Since we're in the age of like cancel culture, it's just really easy. I feel like if even if you want to be honest, it's like sometimes you can because you have like a fear of getting canceled or a fear of people like lashing out on you. And I feel like in certain senses like that, I can't be completely honest in terms of like my views on certain things just because of like how people are going to react.
Damn. Wow. That I didn't. That's the last question. I'm gonna end it with my little spiel. But that's interesting because I didn't understand the question at first. But when it said you feel like you can't be honest with who you really are. I do catch myself a lot of times when I'm in in place with a lot of white people. I will be a little bit more self conscious of my language, with how I'm dressed, how I act. And I find that kind of interesting that I do that. And it's something that I definitely need to stop. Not to say that like, I act a fool around black people either, but like, just to be who I am, no matter where I'm at. Excuse me. I think that's important for anybody to be who you are. And I feel like I've changed myself sometimes when I'm around white people a little bit too much. I'm a little bit. I try to make sure that I speak a little bit more. I guess you want to say proper, or make sure that my language is perfect when I'm talking with them because I feel like I'm being judged more. I just find that it's kind of interesting. But this whole thing, it's a great conversation. I really wish that they would get it for every single race of people, so you can kind of compare the answers and kind of learn from each other. I didn't like that whole interracial question the answers to that question. I thought it was kind of fucked up. I'm not gonna lie, like you saying that interracial dating is disgusting. I thought that was kind of fucked up, especially how the world is moving. But that's their personal opinion. And to say that black men are oppressing black women to me is total bullshit. I feel like that's not true at all. If anything, if anybody in the community getting oppressed, it's the other way around because the black community is a matriarchy and the women control the community. You know what I mean? Like what is considered pro-black is whatever black women consider to be pro-black. You know what I mean? If a black man marries a white woman, he hates himself. He doesn't love himself. But if a black woman does it, oh well, go do your thing. It's praised. So I find that interesting. That comment was kind of weird to me, but it is what it is. Um, I spoke a lot. This video like 27. I'm gonna have to cut this down. Y'all please comment down below what y'all feel about this video. Do y'all agree? Some of the black people, white people, I just want to hear y'all experiences and y'all opinions on this video. I think it's interesting. I think it's I think it's interesting, and yeah, y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. But I'm gonna leave it there. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel. I got more reactions coming for y'all, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.